Good evening. Well, today is Friday, July 11th, 2025. This is your update for Monday the 14th. All right, let's go. Well, okay day overall in the portfolio. K-Toast banging out that IPT. Go ahead and bump your stop on that to break even plus a little. We're going to start opening it up for longer term trend following, obviously. As far as new setups, let's stick with this. Oh, VG also triggering and a slight move in our favor. We're going to bump the stop a little on that one, too. I still like this NAGE, although if it continues to drop, obviously I'll take it off the list. Nice deep pullback so far. Notice that I did drop the parameters on that again tonight. Anyway, we're starting to see a variety of setups in here. Certain areas are beginning to wake up. TLRY, kind of speculative at 50-something cents. Could probably use a little bit more pullback, but technically it is a transitional setup. And the reason I'm showing you that is just because the pot stocks took off again recently, or bottoming out. We'll get to that in just 1 second. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. BTM didn't get the memo about Bitcoin. Opening gap reversal sort of there, outside day. Still looks okay, longer term, remaining in an uptrend. KGC, a little bit of a rally, not too far from those all-time highs. Obviously, you still have to get there. KTOS, bam, winning. Nice little breakout there to the IPT and beyond. So far, so good. A little bit of a bounce in TFPM, not enough to write home about, but a bounce nonetheless. A trigger and a little follow-through in the VG, so that's better than the poke of the eye. Let's take a look at the overall market and drill down a bit. First of all, let's take a look at the Ps. S&P 500. Kind of one of those, after all was said and done, a lot more said than done. Kind of a choppy day, but it did end a little lower on the day, but just off of all-time highs, so let's not get too excited one way or the other. NASDAQ composite, not a tremendous amount to report there, just hovering right below these all-time highs, too. Rusty 2000, this thing just remains a bummer. Right when it gets going, it comes back in. Yeah, longer term, it's still in a pretty decent trend, but it's bumping up against this overhead supply again. Yesterday, it looked like it was going to cut through it like butter, but today, not so much. That's why we take things, again, one day at a time. Some areas, as I've been saying quite a bit, still below overhead supply. That's robotics and AI, sky computing, another example of that. Selling off fairly hard, failing to get through that overhead supply. Another thing to keep an eye on lately is some of these areas that broke out a little bit, like financials, have come back in. Cybersecurity would be another example of that. Not the end of the world for these areas just yet, but they are coming back to test their prior breakout. So, you know, I like to see it break out and keep on breaking out. Speaking of breakouts, bam, winning. Bitcoin flirting with that 118 level today. I think it got beyond it for at least a spell. Gold, the commodity, nice little rally there. So far, we're just consolidating by trading sideways. Longer term trend intact. But yeah, we've lost some steam. But for the most part, still looking pretty good. Gold stocks looking a little bit better. Yeah, a little choppy and wide and loose, but longer term, at least so far, remaining in an uptrend. Broker dealer down a little. So far, nice little breakout remains intact there. Software is a bit of a bummer. This is one thing I wanted to show you. This is V-shaped recovery at high levels, unfortunately stalling at the prior peak in here. Not the end of the world, but you do need to pay attention when the market breaks out and then comes back in, because a lot of people begin to get trapped on the wrong side of the market when that begins to happen. But I wouldn't get too excited just yet, but let's pay attention to what's happening. Defense, once again, banging out new highs with a little bit of vigor, brand new highs there. As I said a minute ago, the pot stocks once again trying to bottom out. Down a little today, but trying to bottom out once again. Transports off a little bit. They've been in a pretty decent rally. I sure like to see them break past these prior peaks decisively. Uranium, the metal, a little bit of a bounce there. It still looks okay longer term. As you know, these rare earths can be very volatile. Uranium, the stocks looking a little bit better, trying to rally out of a pullback. Platinum taking off, not too far from those brand new highs. So far, so good there. Palladium following suit. Look at that. Bam. Accelerating high with a little bit of vigor. Speaking of metals and mining overall, you can see banging out some new highs with a bit of vigor. So far, so good there. Energies have been improving a little bit as of late. Not enough to get excited about. And there's still a lot of overhead supply. So it's still mixed overall, though things still look pretty good. And obviously, we're seeing more and more setups. So for now, let's continue to focus on the long side. Obviously, continue to be selective and wait for entry. So same thing that we always do. and of course take partial profits when offered. Everyone have a fantastic night. Have a great weekend. If you need any help or you just want to chit chat or whatever, I will be checking in throughout the weekend on Facebook, or you can also shoot me an email. If not, or either way, have a great weekend. We'll talk on a Monday. Thank you.